The Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord Christ.
And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, everyone unto his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill towards men. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise be to thee, O Christ.
Please be seated. I hope you'll excuse the slight cheating of using the light off of my phone to read that. You know, the eyes get older and weaker, as the rest of us do. But you know what? When I first took on the task of serving two churches, Piqua and Sydney, I underestimated how tiring Christmas can be. This is my third service of the day. Now, if any of you were here with us in the spring when we watched The Vicar of Dibley, the wonderful British show about the first woman priest in a small town in England, you may remember the church warden asking her in mid-December, what are you going to preach on Christmas? And she says, oh, I don't know, I hadn't really thought of it. And he says, you must be mad. It's the only thing I would think about for months. It's the keynote speech at the party conference. If you mess it up again, you'll lose them to Satan for a year. Well, I think I messed it up a little bit last year. This year, I resolved to do better, and I wrote it out and then forgot to print it. So here I am. It should be under my noggin somewhere. But it really is an important night to get the sermon right, because there's a lot of people in church who are not here that often during the year. And don't worry, I'm not going to lay blame on you all. I just thought it was interesting. I saw a post on the Piqua, Ohio Facebook group a few months ago that says, if you don't go to church, why not? Some of the answers were very interesting. Some of them I dismissed pretty quickly. Like the one that says, all the church wants is my money. Yes, we do take up a collection. Yes, we do have bills to pay. Yes, I would love it if one of you would leave $1 million on the plate, but I can't guarantee your salvation if you do. I can't deny it if you don't. If you let the plate go by you, it's okay. If you drop $1 million in the plate, I'll buy you a drink. That's about all I can promise right now. But in any case, there are all sorts of places on Sunday mornings that are packed. I offer, for example, the Walmart out on 36, where the parking lot is so full that every church would be envious. And trust me, nothing against Walmart here, but if they didn't get people's money, that door would be closed overnight. I also love the, I'm just going to call it the excuse that says, I don't want want to go to church because people will judge me there. Well, guess what? Every time you walk out of the door, somebody's judging you. Again, I'm going to use that place out on Highway 36. You think you don't get judged walking into Walmart? I have a website for you to check out. It's called peopleofwalmart.com. There is a whole website out there where they're mocking what they call Walmartians. So here we are in church, but I do say there are some good reasons why people don't go to church, and it is very sad. You remember that great Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life, where that little girl says, "Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings." Well, I can't promise that, but I can promise you a few other things. I can promise you that whenever the church covers up sexual abuse by clergy rather than dealing with it openly and fairly, people turn their back on the church. I can also promise you that whenever members of the church tell a scared, hurt, teenage, gay kid or transgender kid to turn or burn, it either makes them feel even worse or it leads to suicide. People quite rightly turn their back on that. Whenever people see televangelists on TV asking for huge donations so that they can build this great whatever, and then they end up spending it on, shall we say, things that are less than illuminating for the church, people turn their backs. And rightly so. People turn their backs on the church's hypocrisy. A friend of mine said something about me recently that I thought was very kind, and one of these days it will go on the website if I ever get one. He says, you are authentic, you keep the church real. And I thought, yeah, it'll take a little longer than I thought. Because the sad truth is, it is so much easier to turn people off the church than it is to turn people on. But there are some signs of hope out there. This church does some amazing things, as do most churches in Piqua, all that I know of. But one thing that I'm particularly amazed by is these little free pantries, little free libraries, and the giving tree out on the front porch where people can come and get hats and scarves and gloves, and now there's a pile of coats out there. You see, I knew they would be answering a need in the community for food and warm clothes. But ever since I posted about it on the community Facebook page, I have come to realize they meet a need that I wasn't even aware of. It is a need for people to give. Because that is a need that we all have. It's a need that we express this time of year when we give Christmas presents to each other. And it's a need that we can give, that we can meet throughout the year, either in church or elsewhere in the community. But it is a human need. It is a need to respond to those gifts that God has given us. It is a calling that we all have. Now, there's one other response that gives me both hope and despair. It is that response to the question, why don't you go to church, that I have heard over and over again, that says, it's because I find God in nature, or the forest is my cathedral, or I worship on the beach or in the mountains. Well, you know what? Good for you. I like woods too. I find God in nature. Most of us do. What we learn here, besides how to get along and love people we don't always like, something else that we learn in church and appreciate is how to find God in the unexpected places. So you find God in that fantastic mountain view, in that spectacular forest, in that marvelous beach. Wonderful. Come to me when you can find God in line at the BMV or in mall traffic in December. That's when I'm going to give you a gold star for spirituality. I haven't gotten there yet myself. You can teach me something. But when we look for God in the unexpected places, that is where I think the true message of Christmas may come to pass. It's when we look for God in unexpected places, like in a manger in Bethlehem, born to a scared young woman who had faith, but no doubt she had her misgivings. Born to a man who must have had his doubts about this child, who he was told by an angel was his, even though he had done nothing to produce a child with this woman. They had faith in what God told them, in what the shepherds from afar told them, in what the wise men from afar told them. They had faith that they had found God in this most unexpected place, in this baby born in the most humble circumstances of all. And that is truly, truly the greatest gift that God has given us. Any gifts we give will be shadows of that, but they will also be given in imitation of that love that God showed forth first in giving us that wonderful little baby to bring all the whole earth into wholeness. May we appreciate that gift, love that gift, and cherish that gift all through this year and the years to come until we will receive that gift in its fullness in the flesh.